This year we've been talking about pilgrimage and thinking about the Israelites' journey out of the wilderness. And there are some really fascinating instructions that God gives the Israelites while they are making their way through the desert. He tells them to put 10% of their produce and income aside for celebrations and for festivals. In Deuteronomy 14 we read this: "Make an offering of 10%, a tithe of all the produce which grows in your fields year after year. Bring this into the presence of God, your God, at the place he designates for worship there," and get this, "and eat the tithe from your grain, wine and oil and firstborn from your herds and flocks, and use the money to buy anything you want, cattle, sheep, wine or beer, anything that looks good to you. You and your family can then feast in the presence of God, your God, and have a good time." So this offering, this tithe, wasn't going towards the running costs of the tabernacle, the bills or the heating costs or anything boring like that. It was a celebration fund. A fund which meant that they could participate in these first-class festivals where they could party with their community of faith, enjoying the presence of God together. And this wasn't optional. It was commanded by God. Who said that God is boring? God commanded his people to celebrate and to enjoy him at festivals, to celebrate the goodness and the grace that he's lavished on us, to feast on banquets when we get there, to enjoy him, have amazing food and joy and delight and fun with our brothers and sisters in Christ. And then God says this. He says, "Don't forget to take good care of the Levites who live in your towns. They won't get any property or inheritance of their own as you will." And God commands that he doesn't want anybody excluded. The Levites, they didn't have access to produce to feast on or any means to celebrate. So God told the Israelites to make sure they were included, to share and to provide for them. Some of the offering covered the costs of those who couldn't afford to participate in these celebrations. And God doesn't want anyone excluded from these festivities. So we'd love you to do two things. Firstly, prioritise these feasts. We're encouraging everyone to go on spiritual pilgrimages this year. We're organising Wildfires Festival for the whole church to go along to, the young people heading to Summer Sanctuary, and there's talks even of possible kids camps as well. And we want to follow God's command and encourage everyone to engage in these festivals and pilgrimages that celebrate the goodness of God together. So sign up, find a pilgrimage to go on, feast on God's goodness, invest your finances in it. And then secondly, we don't want anybody to be excluded from these celebrations. So we're setting up a fund as a church that enables those who don't have the means to attend these celebrations to attend. And we'd love all who are able to give to that fund. The fund will also go towards paying for the village tent and facilities at wildfires and similar events, as well as some of the staff who will be working on site. This was a command given to people in the middle of the wilderness before they even got to the promised land. God commanded annual feast. He knew the transformative power of lives rooted in celebrating the goodness of him. I wonder what would happen in our community if we took the command to celebrate seriously too.